MSIs, such as AANHPIs, are integral to the backbone of the higher education system, ensuring that first-generation immigrant and multilingual students from families with low income have the opportunity to succeed and thrive no matter where they're from or what their zip code might be. Our students are obscured and hidden and ignored because of the lack of disaggregation available in government systems. Without disaggregated data by race and ethnicity, targeted support such as culturally responsive programming remains a missed opportunity and educational disparities persist. Thanks to the relentless work of researchers and advocates such as our coalition partners at API Data and APAHE, we now know the following. More broadly speaking, over 1.6 million Asian Americans and over 41,000 Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders have less than a high school degree. That's almost 1 in 8 AANHPIs. Among Asian Americans, the highest proportion of those with the lowest levels of educational attainment include Bhutanese, Burmese, Nguyen, and Cambodians. Among Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders, the highest proportion of those with the lowest levels of educational attainment include Marshallese. There are over 380,000 Asian American and 40,000 Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander first-year undergraduate students who report ever taking remedial courses. That's 3 in 10 AANHPI first-year undergrad students. And in meeting the needs of students, we know that AANHPIs enroll over 40% of all AANHPI undergrads across the nation. We also know that 74% of AANHPIs believe that protecting high-quality public education as a pathway to economic opportunity is a priority. APIs are also extremely and very concerned about the increases in student loan debt. These numbers are important to highlight because they do paint a broader picture for all of us to see, and that there is a need for the presence and reach of AANHPIs to address and respond to systemic disparities and opportunity gaps. As you shared, Senator, MSIs serve about 5 million students overall. And despite their value and impact since they were established, MSIs have been targeted for merely leveling the playing field and ensuring that equal opportunities are provided to students. The targeting of MSIs, such as AANHPIs, has consisted of the refusal to spend federal dollars, such as the reprogramming of $350 million in discretionary grants. This means less resources for outreach to students, mental health supports, academic tutoring, career counseling, wraparound supports, wellness workshops, effective local partnerships between local community-based organizations and high schools, connecting students to financial aid supports, summer bridge programs, pipelines to graduation, and so much more. We know that the Reconciliation Bill of 2025 is resulting in a complete overhaul of federal education policies and programs. And because of the bill, modified eligibility requirements will take place impacting Pell Grants. Work requirements and stricter exemptions to SNAP may threaten vital safety net supports for students. Studies show that about 1.1 million college students rely on SNAP. And for context, the U.S. Government Accountability Office found that MSIs generally enrolled a larger share of students facing food insecurity in comparison to colleges who aren't considered as MSIs. We cannot close equity gaps in higher education by closing down the very same supports and resources that students need.
Good morning, Senator Hirono, and thank you for convening this Spotlight Forum to examine the vital role minority-serving institutions play in advancing access, equity, and economic mobility in higher education. It's an honor to be here today. My name again is Dr. Rowena Tomaneng, President of Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education, a network of practitioners and researchers from 175 colleges and universities, including 100 eligible AANHPIs. I also serve as Deputy Chancellor for the California Community Colleges, the nation's largest higher education system, serving 2.2 million students across 116 colleges, including 99 Hispanic-serving institutions and 49 AANHPIs. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of APAHE, which has long provided technical assistance to eligible and funded AANHPIs. What has been the impact of AANHPI funding since 2007? AANHPIs serve significant numbers of students from disaggregated AA and NHPI populations who experience substantial educational and economic disparities masked by aggregate data. Many Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and Southeast Asian American students are first-generation, low-income, or face linguistic and cultural barriers. Several of these subgroups have among the lowest college completion rates in the nation. Targeted federal support enables AANHPIs to close these gaps by providing culturally responsive academic programs that strengthen belonging, retention, and graduation, student services including advising, financial aid guidance, counseling, and mental health supports, language access and mentorship to help students navigate complex systems, community partnerships that connect campuses with local AA and NHPI communities and research initiatives that advance persistence, degree completion, and workforce readiness. The results are measurable. Ogden College in Illinois has served more than 3,500 students while increasing retention and completion among AA and NHPI degree-seeking students, including in STEM. New York's Hunter College's AANHPI participants achieved a 98.3% first-year retention rate and a 76.1% six-year graduation rate, both higher than their peers. Northern Marianas College's Project PROA has served over 10,000 students, 76 first-generation and 84% Pell eligible, strengthening workforce and transfer pathways. And in California, Irvine Valley College's Elevate AAPI program maintains an 88% persistent rate, far above the campus average. These outcomes demonstrate that investment in AANHPIs strengthens not only individual students, but also our nation's workforce and economic competitiveness. What are the consequences of the defunding? As a result of the September 10th Department of Education elimination and reprogramming of $350 million in discretionary funding, essential programs nationwide have been shuttered or destabilized. Institutions have reported to APAHE severe consequences. Cosumnes River College in California would lose academic and financial aid services supporting over 4,300 AA and NHPI students. Palau Community College would scale back tutoring, supplemental instruction, and career counseling. San Francisco State University would eliminate services for over 1,800 transfer students, widening equity gaps. Hunter College, New York, and North Seattle in Washington would end faculty development programs that equip our educators to support diverse learners. In short, defunding AANHPIs does not simply reduce federal spending, it dismantles proven infrastructures that advance retention, completion, and workforce preparation. These programs are not supplemental, they are essential to closing equity gaps for first-generation and low-income students. Their loss will reverse hard-won gains, widen disparities, and weaken institutions that serve as gateways to opportunity. Restoring and protecting AANHPI funding and other MSI funding is therefore not optional. It is a necessary investment in educational equity, institutional stability, and the nation's long-term economic and civic strength. Thank you again, Senator Hirono, and to our fellow senators for championing MSI programs and defending educational access, opportunity, and success. APAHE looks forward to continuing to partner with you in your efforts.
Thank you. Good morning, Senator.
Morning.
Thank you for holding this spotlight forum to discuss the critical role of minority-serving institutions in American higher education and the devastating impact of the current administration's recent actions. It's an honor to testify before you today. My name is Mike Nguyen. I'm an associate professor of education and the principal investigator of the Minority-Serving Institutions Data Project at the University of California, Los Angeles. I also serve on the board of directors for APAHE, as well as Southeast Asia Resource Action Center, SEARAC. It's also important for me to note that my title is for identification purposes only. I'm not here speaking on behalf of UCLA, but instead speaking as a scholar who researches MSIs and their impact. MSIs are the backbone of American higher education. They provide critical pathways to academic opportunity and achievement for millions of students of color, particularly those from low-income households and those who are often the first in their families to go to college. Over the past 4 decades, Congress established 11 unique MSI designations, which include Alaska Native and Native Hawaiian serving institutions, Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institutions, AANHPI, Hispanic serving institutions, HSI, HSI STEM, historically black colleges and universities, HBCU graduate institutions, HBCU master's institutions, Native American serving non-tribal institutions, Nasantis, predominantly black institutions, promoting post-baccalaureate opportunities for Hispanic Americans, POA, and tribally controlled colleges and universities. While these designations are primarily housed and administered by the U.S. Department of Education, many other federal agencies, including NASA, National Science Foundation, National Endowment for the Humanities, just to name a few, also provide grants and critical resources for MSIs, or at least they used to. MSIs are geographically diverse, located across nearly every state and in the Caribbean and in the Pacific, including Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Micronesia, Marshall Islands, and Palau. 1 in 5 higher education institutions is eligible to receive funding as an MSI, yet they enroll more than half of all undergraduate students of color. Often operating with significantly fewer resources than their peers, MSIs continue to serve as the most accessible and affordable pathways to higher education for our nation's diverse student populations. It's important to acknowledge that long before Congress established these designations, many of these colleges and universities enrolled and supported the educational advancement of students of color in both formal and informal ways. However, when Congress officially established these 11 designations, it not only signaled a real and tangible federal commitment to serving and supporting our students, it also provided much-needed resources to these often under-resourced institutions. Today, that commitment is more important than ever. Given the outsized role MSIs play in expanding educational access and opportunity, coupled with new challenges arising from recent targeted executive actions, I'm grateful to you for increasing the focus and attention on how MSIs can serve their students. I'm thankful for the opportunity to highlight some of the research that demonstrates the many positive outcomes they generate and to ensure that MSIs continue to receive the necessary federal resources to do this vital work. Empirical research demonstrates that MSIs account for some of the largest enrollments, degree completions, and positive labor market outcomes in the country. Indeed, MSIs enroll over 5 million students and achieve these outcomes because they are true sites of innovation. The federal funding appropriated to them directly enhances their ability to implement vital interventions to improve academic and student support services, deliver culturally relevant co-curricular programming, and expand their research capacity. And they do so in ways that embrace the students' identities, lived experiences, as well as their own families and communities. This only heightens the students' academic and professional trajectories, and it also increases their sense of belonging, identity development, and civic engagement, all of which in turn have profound positive effects on personal growth, key academic outcomes such as college retention, persistence, community college transfer, and completion. Specifically, research has shown that funded MSIs provide greater outcomes compared to institutions that are eligible MSIs, and that both funded and eligible MSIs provide greater outcomes than non-MSIs. The difference in graduation rates is staggering and unmatched. For example, Alaska Native and Native Hawaiian serving institutions award 12 times the average number of bachelor's degrees to Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander students compared to non-HSIs. That's 12 times. MSIs overwhelmingly serve and benefit low-income students. When we analyzed graduation rates among Pell Grant recipients, it was evident that funded MSIs consistently outperformed their eligible counterparts in terms of graduation outcomes. The pattern of higher success rates for low-income students is ubiquitous among the majority of enrollment-based MSIs. These outcomes underscore the critical role that they play in fostering educational equity, particularly for low-income students. In terms of labor market outcomes, graduates of funded MSIs tend to have comparable or even higher average earnings relative to those from eligible MSIs, and they earn over 50% more than individuals without a college education. These data points only begin to scratch the surface of how MSIs benefit their students and their communities. During catastrophic natural disasters, federal funding for AANHPIs has been a lifeline for rebuilding infrastructure and programs. For example, in 2018, Super Typhoon U2 devastated the Northern Mariana Islands. With winds topping 200 miles an hour, 80% of the campus was destroyed. As the community rallied to rebuild their campus, AANHPI funds were there to support them. And just last year, they celebrated the ribbon cutting of a brand new 40,000 square foot student union that now provides modern classrooms, dedicated study spaces, and so many other critical student support services. Their resilience to recover and rebuild was fueled by federal commitments to their efforts. The impact of these institutions is even more astounding when you consider this. Their outsized contribution to educational outcomes and economic mobility are achieved while operating at a fraction of the resources of their counterparts. Their effectiveness underscores an urgent need for substantial increases in funding and not cuts, especially as they are responsible for expanding access to post-secondary education for so many students. These federal investments enhance educational equity, bolster institutional capacity, and drive true social and economic mobility. Yet recent executive actions have abruptly slashed hundreds of millions in funding from MSIs, driven by a legally flawed Department of Justice opinion. DOJ wrongly and perhaps intentionally conflated the Supreme Court's ruling on race-conscious admissions with MSIs enrollment-based eligibility. Admissions and enrollment are two very distinct concepts, and in fact, the overwhelming majority of MSIs are open access and broad access institutions. That is, they admit everyone or nearly everyone that applies. Unilaterally stripping away these funds based on a flawed legal theory is not wrong. It sets a deeply dangerous precedent. And the reality on campus has been devastating to our students. The sudden reprogramming of these funds have left MSIs struggling to figure out how to explain the continuity of vital services, services that have been empirically demonstrated to improve student learning, boost academic performance in the classroom, and ultimately lead them to graduate. And at the end of the day, let's be clear, cutting MSI funding just doesn't hurt institutions. It hurts the students, most of whom are first generation and come from low-income households. These funds are about providing the basic resources so students can learn, grow, succeed, and contribute to our society and our economy. And eliminating these resources in general and in such an abrupt manner isn't just misaligned and misguided, it's plainly cruel. However, the bipartisan support MSIs have historically received is a testament to their value. Given their proven outcomes, Congress has an opportunity to do more to support these institutions. This, of course, includes substantially increasing their funding and building additional statutory safeguards to protect them from executive action that blatantly ignores congressional intent. I know the MSI community is greatly appreciative of the letter you and your colleagues sent to the Secretary of Education last week. We're grateful for your leadership and look forward to working with you in defense of educational access and opportunity. This is because the success of MSIs is not a matter of equity, it's a matter of profound national interest. Investing in MSI yields exponential returns. They are engines of economic growth, drivers of social mobility, and ladders of opportunity for millions of students and their communities. And as more colleges and universities become MSIs, it's incumbent upon all of us to strengthen these institutions for future generations of students. By bolstering support for MSIs, they can ensure that they continue to expand access, elevate outcomes, and transform the lives of our students. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to answering your questions.